Everyone has heard of twin flames and the magnificent connection experienced between your soul and that of another person, reaching the point where you can perceive the deepest aspects of the other as your own, all without the need for words, even sometimes without proximity between you. The energetic threads that connect this other soul to yours are perfect, strong, and captivating to onlookers, serving as evidence of how everything in the universe resonates with others, thanks to the connection of all the souls that inhabit here. This term also leads us to think about how everything has been arranged for our journey and the things we experience in it, even before we first arrived on Earth, contemplating that special moment of reunion and unification of your being with that other soul that was initially part of you. From the moment we start experiencing this connection with that other part of ourselves, our being begins to feel an unstoppable desire for closeness, one that may last a while until everything finally aligns for you to meet that twin flame you've been sensing long before the earthly encounter. The presence of this connection can intensify long before you see each other for the first time on Earth, being a bond that transcends time and space, managing to shorten distances in wonderful ways. But while that happens, our being may experience great despair, anxiety, and an impulse to go out and search for that other person, which can only be calmed by the gentle whispers of the universe. Only the universe can provide comfort in the midst of this period of separation from our twin flame, which may be signalling its impending end, and through certain signs urges us to remain steadfast in the wait for the reunion with our other half. According to Dolores canon, there are certain signs that give an early announcement of the encounter between both souls, which we are going to explore today, so that those who are still in that long wait may see a glimmer of hope. Sign number 1, intense and repeated synchronicities. Within the framework of the glimpses of hope that the universe provides us and that speak of the arrival of that crossing between souls, we find synchronicities, which, as we all know, are nothing more than these winks that the universe sends us as a message and that serve as strong indicators that the path we have taken is the right one to fulfill the objective we have set for ourselves. These synchronicities have been widely discussed by great thinkers in the field of metaphysics, and although they are associated with many important energetic events, they have a very special role when it comes to twin flames. It is necessary to understand that synchronicities can present themselves as events that apparently are nothing more than simple coincidences, but energetically they possess a much greater connotation, as if somehow the universe were giving the green light to the path you are taking towards your reunion with that other soul. We must also understand that the approach with that other soul will depend on many aspects of our internal work, which can end up moving everything in our favor, even the things necessary for you to once again meet with that other soul that was initially one with you. And once this work is bearing fruit, you will perceive it through the appearance of synchronicities, which at first can be quite useful, but as the distances between you and that other part of you shorten, you will realize how this phenomenon increases, both in intensity and recurrence. Everything will be aligning as you progress, and perhaps you will notice how in the midst of your journey, things seem to flourish for you, so you should not hesitate to keep moving forward under that form and those paths you have chosen. And although many will call it a stroke of luck, it is actually the universe giving you signs of support for the decisions you have made and that are leading you to that desired destination. During this period, you may notice how that feeling of despair over the separation gradually disappears, as if in a perfect and exact way your soul were aware that the precious moment of twin flames encounter is about to take place. But even though for brief moments, and in the face of the appearance of these synchronicities, your soul may feel relief, you will still feel that insatiable desire to see that other person. These synchronicities can even manifest in aspects such as the appearance of numerical sequences with deep meaning for both souls, or in the repetition of a number or date, which in many cases is considered as the appointed day or hour for that encounter. But these are nothing more than simple examples, because the truth is that when it comes to this sign, the ways and opportunities to appreciate it seem to be completely limitless, with the most common ones being those related to the repeated appearance of numbers, signs, or messages, or even the confluence of messages and opportunities in the face of a change of path or route. Let's remember that the universe will always subtly guide us to the spaces and the perfect moment for our reunion with that other soul to take place. So we must not despair, but rather trust in the ways and the timing dictated by our higher plan. If we manage to do this sooner than we can expect, we will be facing that unique moment when these twin flames finally come together, never to be separated again. Sign number 2. Heightened spiritual awareness. When we talk about spiritual awareness, we refer to that degree of discernment and understanding that we have regarding the spiritual part that manifests in our lives and in everything that surrounds us, from which we can better understand the way everything moves and functions in the universe. Spiritual awareness is usually developed from the awakening of the individual, being an aspect of ourselves that requires constant attention and much discipline to cultivate, but which can also be favoured by other energetic and spiritual events in our lives. Among those events and phenomena that can end up boosting our spiritual awareness, we find the strengthening of this bond between twin flames, and of course their proximity, because the moment of encounter between them results in one of great strength, and also generates a profound clash with the rawest realities and phenomena of the universe. This does not mean that the encounter between twin flames is bad, but it implies that many barriers of knowledge are shattered in order to end those ancient understandings and mistaken beliefs, and to open ourselves to a deeper understanding of our origin and the energies that move through our lives. And although it may seem something immensely grand to be solely provoked by that proximity between twin flames, we must keep in mind that one of the main functions of that soul is to help us evolve and overcome challenging aspects of our process. Our twin flame has the ability to project us in a perfect way before ourselves, being a faithful and exact reflection of the parts that make us up, but above all of those shadows that we often wish to ignore. That is why, from the very encounter between souls, things begin to take on a higher level in terms of the expansion of the self. The changes and benefits that the arrival of our twin flame brings to our life are simply immense, as their mere presence is a strong indication that there are things far beyond human understanding that are present in the universe. Many times we have ended up being completely closed to true knowledge thanks to beliefs and ideas that we take as certain and that have been transmitted from generation to generation until they reach us, possibly being among the greatest adversaries of human consciousness. At this point, it is important to understand that the transmission of these ideas and beliefs has not had a malicious purpose on the part of our family members and caregivers, but rather they have not known anything else, so they fulfill the task of passing on that knowledge that they believe will be the most useful for the development of our lives, and they end up joining us to that vicious circle of ideas in which souls are completely limited in understanding and capabilities. However, it is important to accept that one's actions always have repercussions on others, which is why when we immerse ourselves in knowledge, we tend to positively affect the lives of those around us, and even thousands of people whom we are not even aware of at the level of spiritual connection. And indeed, the arrival of that twin flame in our lives ends up generating great and important changes within us, as they are necessary on the path that we are going to face, which in addition to being individual and collective, will now also be one in the company of that soul, as there will be other purposes to which we must attend with the same disposition as our own and those of humanity. In addition to these spiritual objectives, and the objective that humanity pursues, of which we are also participants and have a level of responsibility towards, there will be the objective pursued by twin flames, which is none other than unity, that is, the conjunction of your soul with that other part to return to that form in which they were originally created, together and burning in harmony. But this unification will not occur solely through their meeting and their desire to be again as they were in the beginning, but it comes accompanied by challenges that must be overcome if one wishes to reach that precious treasure represented by unity. The internal work we undertake will become even more challenging than it was before, as it will be accompanied by many events that may put the being at a crossroads, one that will mark the destiny they will have, bringing them closer to or further from that union with their twin flame. Additionally, as is well known, our twin flame has the ability to confront us with an exact reflection of our being, from which we appreciate not only the strengths that exist within us, but also those shadows that dwell deep within, making it necessary for us to confront them. And in order to face this, it is extremely necessary that we understand the delicate balance that must not only exist in the universe but also within ourselves, for otherwise our existence would be unfeasible. Thanks to this profound understanding of the self and the universe, the mental horizons we possess will expand, and our mind and our being as a whole will open up to experiencing and understanding the true nature of everything. As it is from this that we can heal and elevate ourselves from those aspects that go against the union we seek to establish with that other soul that was once one with us. This is one of those great changes that rush into our lives with the arrival of our twin flame, and that we can easily perceive. For when we look back, we will realize that the universe is urging us to grow in consciousness, and it is because of nothing else but the closeness of that soul to ours. Signal number 3, internal healing. This goes hand in hand with the previous point and tells us that thanks to the approach of our twin flame, we will be able to gather the necessary strength to heal certain aspects of our being that are key and of great importance to address. And it is because of nothing else but that energy emanating from the other part and inviting us to prepare for that moment of conjunction with their being. From the very moment our twin flame enters our life, we embark on a journey together with them, in which we venture to walk hand in hand amidst this shared journey. However, we definitely cannot do that if we are not prepared to assume the responsibility and burdens that it entails. Just as we are clear that everything happens perfectly in the universe, the same applies to this journey between twin flames, and the universe provides everything necessary to facilitate that encounter and definitive union that will forever mark these two parts of the same soul. Just as a field must be prepared for planting, each of the parts must also prepare for that pinnacle moment in their process, in which they come face to face with that other part of themselves that has been separated from them. Therefore, they need to be vibrating at the right frequencies to receive this event into their reality. This event cannot take place if those souls are not properly prepared to confront such a perfect and exact image of themselves, as the universe simply will not allow it. If our desire for union and growth is firm, we must also firmly address those parts of ourselves that are wounded and closed to this event. Although many times the wounds within us do not come from the history we have with our twin flame, our journey on earth can burden us with many unresolved issues that cause significant delays at the level of our soul and our being. Understanding that all these issues will also have an impact on the life and reality of our twin flame, by healing them, we contribute to the manifestation of that precious moment of reunion, while also promoting healing in our other part. Part of that increase in spiritual awareness goes hand in hand with the ability to discern that will now be upon you, and that will make you aware of the importance of solving certain issues that have had a great impact on your life. It is from our ability to let go that we can begin our healing, which we must also observe as the healing of the other part, causing both souls to free themselves from heavy burdens that keep them apart from each other, and to progress in a much lighter way. Even though we are already immersed in our process, we will notice how suddenly those forces and intentions aimed at our healing seem to increase, and our being seeks to rise above all those discomforts, wounds, and energies left by certain events of the past. This is going to be a quite difficult impulse to ignore, so it will constitute in us a warning sign about the way something big is coming, something for which unconsciously we are already being prepared, as our soul foresees that event that will shake our being. we will now feel like more balanced beings, and those things that used to break and destabilize us will no longer be important. They will take a back seat, and while before we were in a fierce battle to manage certain parts of our being, now we will see how their power seems to have decreased, and we can handle them with ease. This is nothing but the omen that our lives are approaching that precious encounter, one that our soul has been seeking since the moment it arrived on this earthly plane, as it understands that in its destiny is written to reunite and join with that other part of its being that was separated and distanced from itself. Signal number 4. Increase in telepathic connection. A fascinating aspect of the soulmate topic lies in the connection they have thanks to their bond, which goes far beyond simple logic and earthly limits, defying any skepticism that may adorn a person. This connection manifests not only as a strong energetic bond, but also as a telepathic ability to know if the other person is well, or if, on the contrary, there is something in their life that is causing them discomfort. Many have described this as an internal and exact connection with the feelings, thoughts, and sensations experienced by the other person from a distance. And although it may initially cause quite a bit of confusion, once we understand the origin of the information we receive, it is possible to manage it in an appropriate way. One of the great peculiarities of this connection between twin flames lies in the unconscious way in which that stream of thoughts and emotions reaches us, which we understand are not generated or do not match with the things we are experiencing in the present moment. There is no warning or anything like that. It just arrives and makes the other person feel as if there is another being inside them that feels and suffers just like them, but that communicates to them in an exact way everything that overwhelms them. It is important to understand that this connection is extremely beautiful to experience, but undoubtedly, in its early moments, it can be challenging because, in addition to dealing with our own thoughts and emotions, we now have to manage those that come from the other person and that are not always positive, being unable to heal or provide relief because that first physical encounter has not yet occurred. For many, the mere idea that we can feel what the other person is experiencing is fascinating, and they would like to be able to reach that level of connection with another soul. But the greatness of this does not remove the difficulty that surrounds it. Once we detect this within ourselves, we can understand that beyond madness or any simple explanation that logic may present, our being has entered the right frequency to be in contact with that other part of our soul, which is living a simultaneous reality, facing the same challenges and turning points that we ourselves have. And the interesting thing is that this connection does not weaken, neither over time nor by distance, being as strong as the bond that unites these two souls who have transcended time and space, seeking each other in each new incarnation and in each new coming to Earth. The closer the distances between you and that being become, the greater the intensity of this telepathic connection will be, reaching a point where it will be so strong that the thoughts and information that come from the other side will be impossible to ignore, and our being will receive uninterrupted those ideas, thoughts, and sensations generated from where it is. Just as if they were two radio frequencies that blend and are captured at the same time by the listeners, this is what we will end up feeling in the midst of that telepathic connection, which we should not fear, as it is an important and beautiful part of our bond with that other soul. While this connection cannot be avoided or interrupted, it is possible to learn to manage it in a way that balances it with our being and our own thoughts, still being able to appreciate those moments in which the connection seems to become even more intense. And it is precisely these moments that end up announcing to the person that the longed-for encounter between their being and their twin flame is closer than they think. Signal number 5. The sensation of a deeper internal knowledge. In the context of the connections and relationships existing between twin flames, we find an aspect of this experience that is magical, and that is the way our twin flame ends up pushing us towards self-knowledge. And besides being a catalyst in our internal process, this other soul also serves as a mirror in which we can reflect ourselves transparently, without prejudices and without the masks imposed by the ego. It is common for many people to present themselves in a way that is not completely transparent amidst social dynamics and the strong challenges faced in terms of mass acceptance, causing them to seem to don a mask that accompanies them every day in any shared space with other souls. But this does not mean that we cease to be the person we truly are, because our essence is indestructible and always present deep within us, even when we fail to align with it due to many social issues and factors that impact our personal decisions. This state is not conducive to well-being or a fulfilling life, so it is a matter to address with ourselves. From a higher level of consciousness, we must understand and accept that we are as our being dictates, and no matter how hard we try, we cannot live fully if we are focused on obeying the ideas and desires of others. No one but ourselves is capable of deciding what is best for our lives and what brings us the most happiness. Because we were created with so much difference on this earthly plane, each of us with a unique configuration. That's why the key to our well-being and happiness often lies in knowing oneself, something we cannot achieve without sitting down to explore every part and corner within us. Discovering with love, compassion, and acceptance everything that resides within us and makes us who we are, even if it means embracing parts of ourselves that we may not like so much. But through self-acceptance and the release of prejudices, this task of self-discovery becomes much more manageable. It can be challenging yet truly beautiful, and even fascinating. Even though we may believe we know every tiny detail about ourselves, through introspection and internal dialogue, we can come to understand many parts of ourselves that remained in the shadows, waiting for the moment when we would illuminate and unveil that part of our true nature that was not visible. The approach of our twin flame is a factor that can greatly interfere with this self-discovery journey, not only bringing great advantages to our being, but also unlocking an incredible array of abilities within us. However, this self-discovery journey is not solely facilitated by the arrival of our twin flame. It also allows us to be more open to ourselves and the energies flowing from within, enabling us to manage things better and making the healing process we must face more fluid. And we cannot overlook the fact that each of us must balance our being and reach a state of higher consciousness, completely free from wounds and traumas, if we truly desire to achieve that union with our twin flame. Our destiny is not to be separated from that other part of ourselves, much less to have lost it permanently. Instead, it is written for us that from our separation from that other part, we shall journey and grow in knowledge, with the union indicating that we have overcome many of the barriers that kept us stagnant in our evolution. For the unification with that other part of ourselves, it will be absolutely necessary to elevate our consciousness, heal our being, and perfect ourselves. And none of these things will be possible if we do not dare to know ourselves and expose ourselves before our own eyes, with the firm certainty that we will offer ourselves love, compassion, and understanding in the same measure that we extend it to others. And just at the moment when you feel this powerful calling from your soul and the sensation of self-awareness intensifies, we will be aware that the encounter with our twin flame is about to take shape in our reality. Signal number 6, the release of old patterns and attachments. As we have seen, this time preceding the encounter between our twin flame and us can be quite intense and laden with a process of preparation and healing that is beautiful and rewarding, from which our being can emerge completely ready for its union with that other part of its soul. From the moment we notice these changes and this preparation that the universe and our soul lead us to undertake, we can understand the closeness of that being and how everything aligns to cross our paths. We will feel a profound call to become aware of all the parts that compose us and the way the universe flows around us. But above all, we will feel the force pushing us towards healing, one that is only possible from our ability to discard those things that have been occupying space within us and do not benefit our evolution. In this sense, we will observe how suddenly our vision transforms, and from this renewed perspective, we begin to detect those things that truly do not align with our essence, our role in the universe, and what we truly are. Indeed, many will be the ideas with which we once resonated that now simply do not vibrate at the same frequencies as our being, so they begin to be unnecessary within us, and gradually we will set them aside. Similarly, we will end up expelling those beliefs that once ruled our lives and that, from this new knowledge and level of consciousness, we understand are not true, and that all they have done over the years is limit us, definitively breaking those barriers that have held us back and replacing them with true knowledge. Lastly, it will not be strange to see how before we were strongly attached to things, events, people, bonds and relationships to which we now cannot find a reason to exist in our reality. So we will start removing them from our lives, making our spiritual baggage lighter, and our journey progressing with strength and steady pace towards that awaited event, towards that reunion of souls. This will be a magical moment that will inundate you with a sense of vitality, strength and wisdom like never before, showing us how, thanks to the proximity of our twin flame, we are renewed in spirit. This is an important part of our process and our journey with that twin flame because their process drives ours and vice versa, and the reluctance of either of the two souls to progress will only delay the other part in their evolution and our journey towards unification. It will be very easy to detect how our being and our soul urge and invite us to let go of all those things that represent nothing but burdens on our journey. And we must be aware that this is nothing more than a harbinger of our encounter with our twin flame. So let us be guided by love and compassion, accepting that everything that happens during this time is for the improvement of our being and to bring it back to the original form in which it was created. At this point, we will feel the approaching conjunction of our being with that other soul, and we become what we have truly been since the moment of creation. Signal number 7, increased emotional sensitivity. As the time marking the manifestation of that encounter between twin flames shortens, we will find ourselves immersed in an extremely emotional moment, in the midst of which we will be able to intensely perceive every emotion generated within us. Additionally, we will also be able to experience the emotions generated by the other person, as our level of sensitivity towards them will be intensified by the energies of the impending moment. It's as if the core of our being opens up to perceive the sensations, the other experiences. But not only that, this sensitivity will extend to the other souls around us. As if the capacity to understand what is within each of the individuals around us were developing within us, this period will mark an understanding of the souls around us that is extremely elevated. This understanding will be combined with the process of transformation and alignment of our soul, with the energies around us, and with everything that is immersed in the universe. We can see this as an indication of growth, evolution, and refinement of our being, one that will be necessary in order to be truly calibrated to face that crossing of paths with our twin flame, from which we will begin a journey hand in hand. This magical moment in our lives is unique and will bring great rewards to our lives, in addition to nurturing our being and renewing it in energies. However, for us to see that moment take shape, it is ultimately necessary for our being to face that unique preparation process. This process places us in the midst of a conscious connection with ourselves and with all parts of our being. We will be healthy, balanced beings, in connection with our thoughts and feelings, as well as open to understanding that other soul that is a reflection of us, and to appreciating everything and everyone around us from within. This can only be achieved if we allow ourselves to be guided by the universe in the midst of this preparation work, which will serve as a strong indication that the long-awaited moment of union is approaching, and can only be delayed or hindered by ourselves through our resistance to change and acceptance of this reality. The greater our commitment to this process and to strengthening this bond, the greater the force with which everything will progress, and things can be streamlined in a perfect and harmonious way with the universe and the other's process. Let us remember how this soul has sought us and we it, and it is not something that emerges in this life alone, but in our previous incarnations, we also wandered the earth in search and preparation for this moment, one that is taking shape and that we will experience in perfection and balance with the universe. Opening ourselves to observe this important energetic movement that is taking place in favor of us and our twin flame will allow us to be aware of the upcoming event in our lives, and it will give us hope as well as relief in the midst of this long wait we have faced. A wait that now sees its end before the panorama of two souls prepared and ready to embrace in the midst of a magical and romantic encounter. And if you have observed two or more of these signs in your life, it is time to expand your arms and your being to that grand event, which I would like you to let me know if you feel is close to you, and that you pass through the comments section to describe your experience and expectations. If this content has been helpful to you, please let me know with a like, and if you want it to reach more people, do not hesitate to share it, because in this space, we open our arms to receive all those who wish to grow in knowledge and wisdom. Remember also to subscribe and activate notifications so as not to miss absolutely anything, as every day we will be bringing more light and knowledge to you and all the souls gathered here. For now, we must say goodbye, but tomorrow we will be back in tune, so I'll be waiting for you to continue soaking up the light.